If SEO sounds confusing, overwhelming, or something that like only tech people understand, then this video is for you. I'm Megan, I'm a recipe blogger with a small site, but I have tons of recipes ranking in the top 3 on Google, and I'm going to give you some very simple, straightforward tips that you can follow to help boost your rankings as well. So before you write your post, you need to pick a set of keywords that closely fits what your content is going to be about. Now, there's all kinds of different tools out there to do your keyword research, but I like using Google Trends. It's free, it's super easy, super straightforward. So go over there. So before we get into the SEO tips, I'm going to give you a very brief demonstration of how I use the Google Trends tool to do some keyword research, because honestly, without keywords, you can't have SEO. We need to have a set of keywords picked out before we dive into those tips. So go over to your browser and just type in Google Trends. And probably going to be the first thing that pops up. You see it right here. So you'll see a search bar, and this is where you're going to put in the terms that you want to search. So I'm pretending, let's say I'm going to write a post on bridal hairstyles. I was going to do bridal updos, but let's start a little more generic, see what happens with bridal hairstyles. Say I'm putting together a list of, 20 amazing bridal hairstyles for spring. So I'm just going to start by searching bridal hairstyles to help me figure out a really good set of keywords for this post. Now, a lot of times I think it defaults right here to the past 24 hours. I want to open this up, and I usually look at the information for the past 5 years. And right under this section, you scroll down and you'll see this chart. So this gives me all of the information over the last 5 years for these keywords. Now, Google Trends isn't going to tell me how hard or how difficult it is to rank for this set of keywords. It's just going to show me interest over time, which is still, for me, very valuable. It's all I really need right now when I'm picking my set of keywords. So again, there's paid tools out there that will give you even more information. But for now, when you're just starting out, Google Trends is an awesome free place to start. So Google scores the set of keywords from 0 to 100. That's what it does with all of them. And 0 would represent its lowest search volume, and 100 is when that search volume for those keywords is at its highest. And you can see that it looks like year over year in general, bridal hairstyles is going down. But another thing you'll notice is that this is all within 1 year. There's definitely peaks and valleys, low areas of search intent. So I'm sure, is this April? Oh yeah, about to go into April, which is, peak wedding season. You can get an idea of here, seasonal trends for your keywords. You can drill down, a little bit more into this graph if you want. So then if you come underneath the graph, it's going to give you a list of words that it thinks is related to the keywords that you put in. So it's giving me words that it thinks relates to bridal hairstyles. And this is a really good place I can look for if I am still trying to figure out my keywords. I already know that bridal hairstyles was just a more broad term. I'm using that to kind of start narrowing down a more specific set of keywords. So I can come in here just to see if I get any ideas that relate to what I'm writing about. So there's all different stuff like bridal ponytail. Maybe if I was specifically doing a list of updos or, hairstyles that went into a ponytail for brides. Half up, half down bridal, black bridal hairstyles down over here if you're wearing it down, styles, it gives you just a different set of keywords that are all mixed, but all related to the ones that you put in. So I use this area just really honestly for more ideas of what to pick as my keywords. Now, if I found something down here that I liked, let's say bridal ponytail. So I'm kind of already thinking of leaning towards making this a post about bridal updos, specifically hairstyles where you wear them up for brides. So let's add bridal ponytail to the comparison. And you can do that by just tapping on these 3 dots, add to comparison. And then we're just going to go back up to that chart. And there's going to be a new line in red for the bridal ponytail information. So it's definitely being searched. It's not a super huge score, but it is consistently being searched year over year. And it's going to be a lot less competitive than if I were to just do a generic post with bridal hairstyles. Bridal ponytails looks like a really good place to start as far as maybe possibly being the keywords that I targeted in my post. Now, say you wanted to compare another set of keywords, but it wasn't in the little charts below, you can also just add it right here by clicking the plus. And now since bridal ponytails gave me like an idea, I'm thinking of writing this post specifically on updos. So now I'm going to specifically search bridal updos. Oops. And add one more line. This one's going to be, it looks like, in yellow. And it looks like it's also got very consistent search volume year after year. Again, it is not crazy high like bridal hairstyles, but we know why. It's a much more specific set of keywords, and that's what you want. If you pick up a really broad set of keywords like bridal hairstyles, it's going to be much harder to rank because you're out there with all these big pages and big websites that already have pages ranking for bridal hairstyles. You want to find one that's a lot more narrowed down and not as competitive. So after that little bit of keyword research, I know that I'm going to go with something to do with bridal updos for my post. So I can clear this all here and just have it drill down into bridal updos and see what set of keywords it gives me in that information below. So again, here's the chart, which we already saw. It was on its own. But down here, now the keywords that it's going to recommend are specific to bridal updos, not bridal hairstyles, which is what I first searched. So this is, again, just another good area for me to really get that final set of keywords down. So bridal, what did I put up here? Bridal updos. This is like what people are actually searching. So whatever I might type into Google or what words I might use to search for something are not necessarily what other people are searching. So here, bridal hair updos, that's kind of a different way, you know, of saying the same thing I said, bridal updos, but it looks like people are adding hair in their search. So these are just really good examples down here of what people are actually typing into their browser. So I see bridal hair updos on this side and this side. That bar is full, which means it's consistently searched. So I would probably land on those keywords if I was doing this post. And I would just have to make sure that that list or the post that I'm doing is really of bridal hair updos. I don't want to include, you know, hairstyles that don't match the keywords that I'm searching for. That's going to confuse Google. It's going to confuse people reading the post. You want to make sure your keywords very closely match what you're writing about. It is very important that you have your set of keywords picked before you start writing your post. Now, tip number 1, this is non-negotiable. This is something you should be doing in every single blog post. You need to put that set of keywords in 3 places: the SEO title, the H1 heading, and you should try to fit those keywords in the first paragraph of your post. Google and other search engines are looking for clues in your content to figure out what it's about and to get it in front of the right people. Putting it in those 3 places makes it extremely easy for it to figure out what that blog post is going to be about. The SEO title is exactly that. It's the title that's going to show in the results if someone searches up those keywords. So like this is the SEO title for this post. You can see some other ones, wedding updos, 25 chic and elegant looks. Each one of these that's showing up right here, this is called the SEO title. Now, where does it pull the SEO title from? I use a plugin called Yoast SEO. It's a free plugin. They do have a paid service, but I just use the free version, and I cannot stress enough how helpful it is. It is definitely something you should use, especially if you're new to SEO. It's honestly how I've learned a lot of the SEO basics just by using this plugin. So I highly recommend installing it. I don't get anything for saying that. I'm just a blogger who swears by this plugin. And again, it's free. So down here, if you expand this a little bit, you'll see my Yoast SEO section, and you'll see some extra fields here. I won't get too much into that, but down here, you see this field that says SEO title. Automatically, it's defaulting to pull the title, like what I'm putting in that H1 heading, that very first line on my post. But it does not have to be that. You can have a different SEO title or, you know, a different name for your post that's going to show in the SEO results than what you have listed within your post. Now, you might be wondering why you would want those 2 titles to be different. And really, just the SEO title is one where you can kind of add on a few more words to try to get someone to click on your post. Since that's the title that's going to show in rankings, that's, where you can just get a little creative. So say this was the name of my post, best bridal hair updos for 2026. Now, again, I mentioned you want your keywords to be in these 3 places. I'm going to come back to the H1 heading, but in my SEO title, I still want it to have best bridal hair updos. Those are the keywords that I'm targeting. So I would put here maybe best bridal hair updos. I don't have to include the 2026 part. Here's where I can get creative, like maybe best bridal hair updos, add fun, creative, and easy. Something like that. Now, that's just an example, but you want to work in your keywords here, but you can also add on some other words that just really encourage someone to click on your title. Just make sure they apply, make sure they're relevant to your actual post. So this is where you enter your SEO title. Again, that's for me. I use this plugin, so I'm not exactly sure where you enter it. If you don't use Yoast, I'm sure it's pretty straightforward, or you can just Google where you put that. Or, your WordPress or settings might just default it to whatever title you put in this area. But again, can't stress using that plugin enough. So this is where I do it. I put my SEO title down here, and then up here, this first line is called your H1 heading. This is one of those 3 areas that you want your keywords to be in. So best bridal hair updos, I've got my keywords in here, and you don't have to get too, creative here. It just really is what, if someone is on your page already, that's the title it's going to show for your post. So a lot of times I leave off the extra words that I'm trying to use to get people to click over. A lot of times I'll take it off just to look a little shorter and more clean, but you could 100% leave those words on in your H1 heading too. That part doesn't really matter. It's up to you. You just want to make sure that those keywords, at least those ones that you did your research on and picked out, they need to be in this H1 heading. They need to be in your SEO title, and they also need to be in the first paragraph. It's awesome if you can get it into the first sentence, but if you can't naturally work it in the first sentence, don't stress. Just make sure to get those keywords at least in your first paragraph. Now, it's even better if you can sprinkle those keywords throughout your post naturally, or variations to those keywords. If you went onto Google Trends and you saw some different variations to the one that you picked, it also helps to kind of work those into your post too. Again, do this naturally. You don't want to keyword stuff, which means just putting that keyword in constantly over and over. Google doesn't like that. But if you can kind of put it in naturally throughout the rest of your post, it helps just that much more. However, just don't skip those 3 places: SEO title, H1 heading, and make sure it's in your first paragraph. Now, tip number 2 involves your images. It's very important that you give your images a file name and image alt text. And those words might sound funny. I'll explain that in a second. But the reason this is important is because Google can't see your pictures. Google reads text. So the text around those images is very important. When you save an image to your desktop or to your phone, a lot of times it's generic name like IMG421 or whatever, something like that. Well, you need to go in and change that file name to make sure that it includes your keywords. Now, the image alt text field sounds a little bit confusing, and it's not, I promise. It's just another field, usually close to where the image name field is. I use WordPress, so when I'm uploading an image into the media library, you'll see right under the file name, it says image alt text. Whatever you're using to do your blog posts, whatever platform you use, there should be a field for image alt text. Now, this field's a little bit different. It should be just a short sentence explaining what the picture is to someone that can't see it. So you want to get your keyword in there naturally, but it should also be more descriptive. It should really be explaining what that picture is. And if you don't know how to write your image alt text, this is a great time to use ChatGPT. Just tell it what your picture is, tell it what your keywords are, and it will write the alt text for you. But don't skip this. This is something I didn't do for a few years into my website. I really did not understand the importance of naming your images and putting in some image alt text, but it's just one more step in the SEO process that helps Google understand what that piece of content is about. Now, tip number 3 is to add internal links on your post where it makes sense. This just means to fit in or work in naturally a sentence that links to another post that you've already written. This majorly helps Google understand your site even that much better. Not just understand what this blog post is, but really understand what your website is. And the more it can understand what your website's about, the more chances you have of ranking higher. If your site is brand new and you don't have that much content yet and you can't do this step, don't stress. But as you're building your content, just keep this in the back of your mind. It's something super simple, a really easy step that just helps you rank that much better with Google. Tip number 4 is to add an FAQ section within your blog post if possible. Now, that's not going to work for every piece of content, but if you can, it's another way to boost your results and rankings with Google. An FAQ section is just simply a section where you have questions that people are commonly asking about the topic related to your blog post. And Google loves content that helps people. It loves clear answers. So FAQs can help your content show up in featured snippets, in voice search, and now even in AI summaries. Plus, a lot of times it keeps readers on your page longer. So SEO isn't just about keywords, it's also about how your page feels to readers. And Google, again, it loves if your content is helping other people, and an FAQ section is a signal that it is going to be a helpful piece of content. Tip number 5 is to make sure that the user experience on your site is good, and especially that you have a good, clean mobile design. I don't know what the percentage is, but it is super high as far as how many people visit our websites on their phone versus desktop. It is crazy. I can see in my own analytics, it's over 90% of people that are using a phone or mobile device to visit my site. Now, that's crazy. If your site doesn't look good on a phone, people are not going to want to stay on it. Bottom line. This sounds really, really basic, but it's extremely important. You should go on your website on your phone and just see what it looks like to you. Is it something that you would stay on if, it wasn't your own site? Can you see the information clearly? Or are there a bunch of boxes or ads like popping up in places where it's covering the information? Is it really slow to load? Does it take forever when you click on a link to get to the next page? Now here I'm going to add a little bonus tip. I highly recommend using a free plugin. Free, don't pay money for some fancy SEO plugin. They have free ones that work really, really well. I personally use the free version of Yoast SEO. I'll put the name up here. I love it. It's taught me a lot and it is super easy to use. I started using this plugin when I had zero knowledge of SEO. I highly recommend using a tool like that. And if nothing else, just follow these 5 tips that I shared in this video today. And I promise you, you already have a major head start in starting to rank with Google. If you have any questions about the tips that I shared today, please ask me in the comments. I am always happy to help. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on all the future blogging knowledge and tips that I share here for free. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching.